All right.
Okay, so as busy college students, especially now during finals time, food kind of just tends to appear. I stress eat when I during finals time. I eat all the time. It doesn't stop, and I know some people don't eat at all. But something that I realized we don't really do that often is cook our food. We tend to kind of go to fast food, and I get it. It's fast, and it's fast. It's in the name of the food. No one really has time to wake up in the morning and cook eggs and bacon and hash browns. But you can go to the McDonald's drive-thru for 2 minutes and get all of that. I mean, you were eating it for breakfast in fairness, well, great. And so and I didn't eat breakfast, so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, what am I gonna go eat after class? And so something that I realized with fast food in general, just because where I work, is that a lot of places don't offer the best quality food. I mean, it's $1, it's $2, it's $3, but the fact that you can get a sandwich for $1, and it's is it really a sandwich? What's in there kind of thing? I think that's kind of crazy. So so I work at In-N-Out, and so I kind of see how the whole process works and how we prepare your food and all that kind of stuff. So today, I'm gonna try and persuade you to choose In-N-Out when trying to go to fast food instead of maybe some of our competitors. I'm not gonna say any names, but you know. So first, I'm gonna tell you why you should eat there, because we offer the best quality produce. Our lettuce, tomatoes, onions, pickles, chilies, all that good stuff. I'm gonna tell you how they're prepared and why you should kind of feel better about eating there. And then I'm gonna tell you about our golden egg, as we call it, which is our meat, our burgers, which are our meat patties. I'm gonna tell you how they're prepared in the factories and then brought over to the store and given out to you. And then lastly, I'm gonna go over the policies and procedures that, even though that federal law states that we need to have, and then the extra set of procedures that In-N-Out goes above and beyond to implement for you guys. So first, I'll go over the produce that we offer. So our lettuce, our tomato, our onions, and and our potatoes. Those all come whole. None of it's pre-sliced, diced, chopped, none of that good stuff. We get our delivery every 3 days. And they usually come from the same company every single time. We tend not to branch out because we want to offer the same tasting produce every single time you guys come in. So, for example, with the lettuce, they come in boxes about this big. Each box has about 30 to 40 heads of lettuce. Someone comes in at 8 a.m. every morning and does the produce for the first half of the day. So your lettuce, the person who's doing your lettuce comes in. We open up the box and we have a prep sink filled with ice water. After we pour your lettuce out one by one, we set it in the ice water and we let it sit there for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, we come back. And doing that helps it keeps it from browning all day. So usually our lettuce lasts about 4 or 5 hours before we have to do it again. So it keeps it from browning, so you guys have that really green or it's iceberg, so there's white heads of lettuce, and so that it lasts longer. That person then, the top of the leaf is the biggest part. We use that for your protein lettuce. She has to take those off carefully, and then each one she has to cut into that square portion. And then after she gets the big pieces off, we tear off the little pieces, and we tear, not cut, because that way the ends don't brown. So we tear everything off, we put them in a tub, and we time stamp them. And state law, federal state laws, In-N-Out says that our lettuce can last up to 24 hours with the way that we prepare them. In-N-Out has their own set of rules and policies that we implement, and they will actually discard of the lettuce no more than 12 hours later. Usually it doesn't even last that long to begin with, but to ensure that we give you guys the best food, we toss it out after 12 hours. Our tomatoes are kind of the same concept. Each one is washed individually. We core it out and we slice them, and we put them in inserts. Each insert has 4 sliced tomatoes. Once again, state law says we can keep them up to 6 hours, and it says after 2 hours we're gonna throw them out. We're not gonna use them anymore, just because they don't want it to sit sliced, refrigerated in a fridge. Because I don't know if you guys ever had vegetables or fruits that's been sitting in your fridge open. After a while, they just kind of get that waxy texture, and it's not that great. So to prevent that, we don't keep it more than 2 hours. Once again, it doesn't usually even last that long to begin with. And we do about 15 to 20 inserts at a time, each one having 4 tomatoes in it. And that process is repeated 30 times a day. because we use tomatoes so often. So usually if you're seeing someone slicing tomatoes, that could be the tomatoes that they're putting on your burger right then and there. With our potatoes, once again, they come in whole. These are just like, you could go to the grocery store and like, you wouldn't know the difference between what comes in our store and what goes in a grocery store. And so like, the potatoes get, we could put them in a hopper, and they're blasted with steam to get off all the excess dirt. And so of course some of the skin comes off too when that happens, but as you can tell, we don't really peel the potatoes all the way. So after they're removed from the hopper, each potato is individually, like someone's standing there with like a core, and they're picking up each potato and making sure that if there are any bad spots, if it's the whole potato's bad, we'll throw them out. The company always says that, you know, if it's not good, just throw it out. No point in trying to save that one potato. So someone will sit there and pour every single one and take off any bad parts, and they're submerged in a bucket of water, which is instantly moved to the fry table, and where you see that person, you know, doing that whole two-arm thing, slicing your potatoes. It goes into a sink of water. From there, it's put into a spinner. From the spinner, it's turned into a fryer, and then it's fried in cottonseed oil. So if you have any like peanut allergies or any corn allergies, actually, you could have our fries because they're fried in cottonseed oil, which is actually pretty good oil compared to a lot of other things that fast food people fry them in. And once we take them out, we just do salt, pepper, and that's it. There's nothing more to it. It literally is just a raw potato. You can make it at home. And lastly, our onions. These are kind of like the most annoying thing to do at our store because there's a lot of work that goes into them. The bags we get in are about as tall as I am, and they weigh about as much as I do. They're about like 110 pounds. And someone comes in every morning at 8 a.m., picks that bag up, puts it up on the prep sink, cuts it open, cores and peels close to like 200 to 300 onions in the time that we do that. And then they slice them. So for the sliced onions, once we slice them through one by one, again, it's like really tedious work. We put them in an insert, and each insert has about 4 to 5 whole onions, and then we take that over and we put those on your burgers like immediately. And then we also have like grilled onions, so the onions that we slice then go into another like dicer, and we dice them into an insert. And there's about 10 like sliced onions that go into that. So you can tell like all the tedious work that they go just to give you produce that's like super fresh. We prepared it there, and like if you ever like go to the drive-thru, you can see in the store like they have the whole fishbowl concept. So then the grilled onions are taken to the grill, and where the person who's cooking your food is also cooking your onions. And it takes about 30 minutes to get them to grill right. So we're doing like a lot of extra work just for something most people don't even get on their burgers anyways, because not a lot of people like grilled onions. So that's like on the produce side of In-N-Out. So that's why I think you actually definitely, if you don't eat the lettuce and tomatoes and stuff like that, I guess it doesn't really matter. But you're paying the same amount of money for food that is prepared fresh that same day, and it's coming to you. And we do this so many times throughout our day, so it's not just sitting there waiting for you to show up. We're probably prepping it as soon as you're ordering it, and it's going straight to you. So now that I told you how our produce is handled, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our meat. In-N-Out only has 312 stores in 5 states. And that's simply due to the fact that each store is located less than 50 miles from the meat department warehouse, where it's only specifically like In-N-Out meat patties, like that's it. There's nothing else that's in that factory. And so it's just 100% pure beef. It's delivered every 2 days because we can't freeze it. It's never frozen. So it comes in cases. Each case is 600 meat patties, and we probably get about close to 200 of them. Every 2 days, and they come already like in patty form, and they're just like individually, like there's wax paper in between them, and they're put in a separate meat locker, separate from like where we put our produce, because of like cross-contamination and stuff like that. And when the person is preparing your food, for example, like let's say you ordered a dub, so the person who's cooking your food, they get the tag, and they're gonna go, okay, I'm gonna throw 2 meat down. So they're 1, 2, they press the timer, and then they salt, pepper, and that's it. There's no oils or anything on the grill or anything like that. They cook for 1 minute and 15 seconds on one side, and that's just to get a proper sear on one side of the burger so it holds the juices in. There's like a science to like all the crap that they do here. And then they turn it, and so for a dub, you obviously have 2 slices of cheese. So the slice of cheese is like this big. It's a really thick slice of American cheese, and you have to fold it at 1/5 and place it sideways on the burger, where it's like you have this much meat and then the rest is cheese, creating a smile. Like the whole purpose, our burgers are supposed to look a certain way when we give them out to you. So by doing that, we create a smile for the customer. So you put the slice of cheese on both. Let's say they wanted regular onions.
Well, you should finish. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
don't stop in the middle of a sentence. We've discussed this before.
So you just place the onion on the burger, you put the meat on, and then the person dresses it. And the great thing about it is that it is really fresh. You're not ever getting meat that's just waiting around. It's prepared fresh to order, and it takes 4 minutes and 15 seconds to cook. So that's why sometimes there's the extra wait. So what I'm trying to say is, like, you go and you spend the money on that. You go and you spend the money on fast food, and you're not really sure what you're getting. And don't get me wrong, those 2 a.m. like chicken nugget cravings are real. Like, you don't get them. But if you have the time, why not spend that money getting food that with the same ingredients your mom would make when she made your sandwich in like first, second grade or something. So if you guys have the time and you have that extra money, I definitely would encourage you to go to In-N-Out for your fast food choices.
All right, Javier, what did you think?
You obviously ran out of time, but you spent a lot of time on like the produce part instead of the other stuff. I did love the topic. I love In-N-Out, so you don't have to persuade me. You do that thing where you look up still, just not as much.
Yeah.
I saw that you were looking around a lot, but besides that, I thought it was a good delivery. You were actually speaking really well, obviously, because you know everything about In-N-Out. You work there. But yeah, I thought it was a really good topic.
All right. Yeah, I think you need to make it a little bit more of an argument. There's not much research material here. You've got good ethos from your credibility, from your experience, and you talk about the subject enthusiastically, which I think people will appreciate as listeners. So you're using, your ethos to sell this idea more than anything else. And I think it needs a little bit more content as a consequence. So you're comparing the quality. I mean, you described the quality of the produce and, even a little less because you ran out of time, the quality of the meat products and that sort of thing. Well, let's get a contrast. So how's that different from all of the other places? And why does it, why is putting it in the cold water, or why is it tearing it instead of cutting it? Why is that better than what they do at those other places, that sort of thing. And you make it sound like In-N-Out is more expensive than other places. And I've not found that to be the case, So I think I'd be a little bit careful about making that assumption. Tell people, look, for the same price that you'd be paying, in fact, or a little bit less. And that's one of those things that would be easy to point to and say, you can go to this place and get that sandwich, and this place and get that sandwich, and here's what it's going to cost you. Go to In-N-Out and you get this sandwich, and it's going to cost you less than that, and the produce is going to be fresh, delicious, as I've just described to you. It will not have sat, which is what they allow at this place and that place, for 24 hours before they used it, and it won't have been delivered already chopped up, cut up, and that sort of thing. It is, and the freshness is what the difference is. The one thing what's the biggest drawback that I think most people would have about going to In-N-Out is the time issue, and that's one of those things that you never get to because you run out of time. Mm-hmm. You spend all your time making your hamburger, and by the time I get to the front, hey, that issue's out of the way. So that's a little bit of a problem. And I'm going to echo the thing that Javier said about you. You look between us, you look above us, you look around us. We're not going to bite. I think maybe a couple of times you actually made eye contact with people on that side of the room, but the rest of the time it's just like you're up there talking in front of us, and it's as if we aren't. And it's not obvious. It's just one of those things that subtly, because we kind of are in a small room here, we're going to notice that. If you were in a bigger room, nobody would notice that. Mm-hmm. But when you're in a smaller room like this, I'm going, well, why is it that she sounds so great and she's, animated when she speaks? Why do I still feel a little bit detached? It's because, you don't really look at
Yeah.
people. You look around people. And that's just one of those weird things that sometimes people do. And you are one of those people. So you want to watch that. Okay. Thank you.